Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Dory coming to you from Bergen County, New Jersey. I'm going to do a short video for you today about the student loan repayment controversy, which is really not so much of a controversy as it sounds. It's more of an endemic problem that has a variety of different victims associated with it, and everyone's looking for a solution that suits their own personal goals. The problem is that tuition in the United States is too high. There's no place in the world where college tuition is as high as the United States. And if we rewind just back to the Obama administration, when this whole student loan system was developed, tuitions were like roughly half what they are today. And so what happened was more money flowed into the system, and it got eaten up very quickly with higher prices. There should be no mystery what happened. But in the process, we're taking young people who have little credit history, and if they have little credit history, then they have, decent credit, and we're loading them up with debt, and a bunch of them are never going to graduate. A bunch will graduate. They're going to wind up working at Starbucks. And overall, they become enslaved. They've become enslaved to the commercial banking system, basically. And there's no way around it, because if you don't get a college degree, then you're earning like half as much. So they've got us by the balls, so to speak. But I have a solution to propose. So here's the solution. Instead of dumping $300 to $500 billion into wiping off student debt, that ship really has sailed, and it's going to create a lot of animosity for people who paid back their student loans. They're going to want to know why they're left out from this, and they're right. Take a fraction of that, 15 billion, 10 billion, and subsidize online colleges, but not just any online college. Because here's the problem with online colleges. They're inferior. And the reason they're inferior is because they're associated with being like the college of last resort. People don't realize this. But what makes an inferior college inferior is they have lackadaisical standards. They have lackadaisical standards for admission, and they have lackadaisical standards for passing the classes. And I happen to know a professor who worked both at New Jersey Institute of Technology as well as Stevens Institute, which is another engineering school in New Jersey. And Stevens has like one of the best it's like $90,000 a year for Stevens, some crazy number like that. And NJIT has among the worst reputations in the engineering world. And the reason's very simple. The NJIT management, the faculty, tells the teachers, don't fail anyone. We don't want anyone leaving us until they've been drained of all their money. And we don't care if we're giving them diplomas that they don't deserve. So, of course, their degree is going to be worth less. Of course it's worth less. Some of their graduates don't know the first thing what they're doing. And that's the problem with the online colleges, mainly, which is they're considered inferior educations, and therefore people with those degrees don't have quite a full college complement of college credentials. So there's a solution to that, and that is to kind of emulate what the online yeshivas have done. Now, for those of you who don't know what a yeshiva is, it could be any type of school, middle school, high school, or college, but it has a whole section of it that deals with old Bible. I'm not talking about religion. This is not a religious issue. I'm talking about the fact that the yeshiva colleges that have gone online in the United States, they don't play around. They don't accept lackadaisical students. They do not pass students with lackadaisical performance. These degrees, really, if you just compare apples to apples, these educations at these yeshivas online are as good as Ivy League degrees. There's no advantage to going to Princeton. Seriously. Sounds crazy, right? But by using the online platform, the cost of providing the education can be minimized greatly, because instead of one professor working, 15 students, one professor can work 45 students, and automation does most of the rest, and then assistants and staff members fill in the gaps. The tests are monitored with cameras. They have video cameras. They have camcorders, not camcorders, but like video. They're looking at the students while they're taking the test to make sure the students aren't cheating, to make sure there's no one feeding them information. So they're not playing, these online yeshivas. Anyway, this could be done very inexpensively. Not a lot of work. Not going to take a million years. Okay, this could be up and running in 18 months to 24 months. If the will was there and the funding was there. We're not talking about $300 billion. So what does that mean? Let's say we're talking about $15 billion, for example, right? So the students are still going to pay some tuition. But instead of paying $20,000 or $30,000 a year, which is like entry level for a decent degree at a university, lower end of the cost spectrum, they're going to pay maybe $8,000, which is somewhere in the same range as a community college. It depends on what community, what state, because they subsidize the community colleges as well. But it's going to be very affordable. The government's going to subsidize part of the costs. And the degrees are going to be as good as Ivy League degrees from a apples to apples comparison. Just the quality of the education. And that's how that's done. Now, why is that going to work? Well, it's the first commandment of capitalism is competition rules everything. If you can't produce the best product for the best price, someone else will. So these fancy schmancy colleges that are charging $90,000, like Stevens, they're going to have to readjust their tuition, because otherwise an unlimited amount of people, an unlimited amount of students can leave them, go to these high performance, high functioning online schools, and eventually, it won't be overnight, but after a period of not that many years, the degrees from these schools, they'll have reputations for being spit and polished. So it won't be like it is now, where it's like, oh, it's an online degree, you don't even have to look further. No, it's going to be whose online degree is it? Then once that starts happening, then some of the fancy schmancy colleges are going to want to co-opt, and they're going to be doing licensing, and so you may have a fancy school, maybe not an Ivy League school, but a good, really good, what is today an expensive school, lending its name to an online program. So that's going to be that. That's how the problem is solved, everyone. I don't see it as that difficult. Thanks for listening. Bye.